Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, for Celebrity Page, taking you behind the velvet rope with the one and only Al Roker. Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade. So Al Roker, I feel so weirdly honored to be in your dressing room. We have like all your trinkets here.
Yeah,
this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah,
lots of 20 plus years of stuff.
Yes.
Speaking
21 years I've been on the Today Show. So that means I've been here almost a third of the time that the Today Show's been on the air.
This Today Show, she ain't look half bad for 65 years,
Yeah,
right?
I had a little work done, but for the most part, yeah, no, you know what is it's almost surreal being part of such an iconic program. I mean, I literally have had people say, well, this must be a dream come true. And it was like, no, because I never thought about being on the Today Show. It was one of those things that, you just, what are the odds of me being able to be on the Today Show? So it's to be part of this is still a pinch me.
When you look at 65...
No, seriously, pinch me.
No.
Ow, not so hard.
He's like, you're fired. Like Donald Trump said, like, you're fired. Why do you think the show has appealed to so many people over 65 years?
Well, I think it has, the show has evolved. I think it is, there's no one star of the Today Show. I think it truly is an ensemble. But I think as you look at it through the decades, it's kind of like the show reflects what's going on in the country. So I think that it's one of those things where at the end of the day, even though it's at the beginning of the day, I think people want to be reassured that the world is still there, and that as they head out the door, they know what they need to know to get through the day. Even though we're a world of our apps and our phone and all that, I still think people want that reassurance from people they know.
Personally, for you, this has transformed you into a household name. People know if you're walking down the streets who Al Roker is. What has that meant to you to be that presence in people's home every morning?
It's a little frightening, but it's also it's a great honor that people make a choice. The fact of the matter is, a lot of what the news is or the weather is, you can get from any number of places. So that people make a choice to do this and to tune us in is really special. Why do they do it? It's like, do you like sausage?
I do. I love sausage.
But you know what? You don't want to see how sausage is made.
No, awful.
You don't. It's
awful.
So it's kind of like that. It's like you can try to figure it out why you like it, but it's probably not going to make it taste any better.
Although you have a personal life, so much of being on this show is sharing that personal life with the public. You've shared your weight loss battle. You've shared the ups and downs of what you've gone through. Talk to me about letting America into that inner Al Roker.
Well, yeah, I don't know that you really want to see the inner...
Talk about the sausage being made, right?
Yeah. But I think, after a period of time, you just naturally talk about things, and we are, in a sense, a family on the show. And so we talk about this. I mean, it goes way back. But, I think you go back to Kade sharing the death of her husband, beloved husband, Jay, to the colonoscopy, to, all sorts of different things that have happened on the show. I mean, I've gotten married on the show. I've had 3 kids on the show. Same with Matt and Savannah now. And it's just this, after a point... it just naturally happens.
Talk to me about the cast behind the scenes. Having filmed here so many different times, I see how you guys interact, but America is always wondering, what is it like behind the scenes at the Today Show?
Well, I think the thing that differentiates our show from others, I think if you go to the other studios, and when you really touched on it, Arthur, when you talk about behind the scenes, because it's not just us in front of the camera. We have probably the best camera crew and technical staff. We have magnificent producers and writers. We have great photojournalists, and it really is this extended family. So that it just happens. You hear this laughter in the background. That's either our stage manager, Mark Trauber, or one of our camera guys, Bob Yeager. We call him Rope. He's making these bad puns. it really is this extended family. And because we're so comfortable with each other, I think that translates to folks at home.
One of the things people don't realize is how hard what you and I do. When you're on camera, you can't make grammar errors. You have to make the person you're talking to feel comfortable. But there's horror moments behind the scenes. What have been some of your crazier horror moments that people haven't seen?
Look, here's the deal. First, I have to say, and you probably actually in a way work harder because you're at dealing with these celebrities and these stars every night. And, what we are so blessed to be in this business.
I agree.
I always say my dad drove a bus in New York City for 8 hours a day. That was hard work. This is, there's time, and I'm not denigrating what I'm doing or you do, but we're very blessed to do this. But listen, it's one of those things where I remember we had some folks outside the window. And a guy had a sign that said, "Jill, will you marry me?" And I thought, oh, this is great. And my producer in my ear, Jeff Zucker, who now runs CNN, he was our executive producer. And as I'm going to, I hear in my ear, he goes, "Don't go there, don't go there." And I ignored him and I went, "So you want to marry Jill?" And the guy goes, "I love Jill, but I really love Jeff more." And then turns to the guy next to him and gives him a full open mouth kiss on live TV. And I hear Zucker in my ear go, "Uh-huh." Yeah. And I looked at the camera. I said, "Well, see, they won't even show you that on Will and Grace, And then, but the upside was they actually wrote it into an episode of Will and Grace that season. So I'm still getting residual checks.
That's awesome. On the flip side, most memorable moment.
Well, memorable, has a lot of different connotations. I still remember the day of 9/11. It was perhaps just one of the most beautiful days that morning. And then the world as we know it ceased to exist. I remember getting I'm a big comic strip fan, and the elation of getting to interview Charles Schulz for the 50th anniversary of Peanuts, and then 6 months later, doing the last interview with him after he'd been diagnosed with colon cancer, and him asking me to come out to California to talk to him. There's so many that this show has been witness to, and I have had the honor and privilege to be on the program when they happen. So it really is a ringside seat to history. It sounds cliche, but it really is, and that's what our job is, to bring our viewers along for that ride.
When did you decide? Your main job here outside of host and anchor is your weatherman, and you could say, okay, he's just a weatherman, but you've really epitomized so much more than that. When did you decide that you could inject humor, inject your personality, and make it more than just, hey, I'm telling America the weather every day?
That developed, and it was the reason for it, or the person who helped me with that, was my mentor and like second dad to me was Willard Scott. I very early on in my career, I worked in Washington, D.C., and he was just this icon in Washington. And I was at the Fox station, and then it was Metro Media. And he took me under his wing, literally, and helped me realize who I could be. And so, but it was no grand. I didn't have any grand plan. It just happened. But really, if it wasn't for Willard, we would not be standing here talking.
We have quite a week this week. We're saying goodbye to President Obama.
Yes.
Saying hello to President-elect Trump.
Yes.
Thoughts in the media as we see this change happening live?
Well, I think, it speaks to this grand experiment of democracy, that, you can have a voice like President Obama's, and then 8 years later, a voice by what it will become President Trump. And that's not to say one is better than the other. It's just different. And, the axiom that we were told as children that, you can be anything you want to be in this country is certainly demonstrated by that. The son of an African and the son of an African and an American woman, or the son of a real estate mogul from New York City can become the president of the United States. So, I think this country, absorbs it all and creates, we create new memories, and we'll learn what happens after Friday. And we know that the sun will come up, and everything will be fine. And it's an interesting time, because what is so interesting about it, and in a way, this goes back to what our founding fathers had envisioned. They didn't see career politicians being in Congress or in the Senate or being president. They saw either business people or farmers or whoever coming from wherever around the country and coming to Washington and then going back to their jobs. So I think this is what's supposed to be.
My final question: what's next for Al Roker?
Arthur, I have no idea. I don't plan. I didn't plan to be on TV. I was going to be a writer or a producer. And I just, by happenstance, in my sophomore year of college, got a job doing weekend weather. But I don't know. I whatever it is, it's going to be fun, and I'm going to enjoy it.
And a lot of barbecue.
Yes.